This week's Torah portion, Vayechi, we are in central Morocco, in Sefrou. Sefrou is not too far from Fez. We're focusing on the writings of the late 19th century Rabbi Yehoshua, Shimon, Ovadia. He's a rabbi and a poseka dayan in Sefrou. Writes several books. We're going to focus on one, Torah v'chaim, his commentary on the Bible. Jacob calls his sons and he wants to tell them the future. He wants to bless them. And Rabbi Yehoshua Shimon notices a subtle wording difference in the verses, which completely changes the scene that's happening. So how do we usually read this? We usually read it, then Jacob called his sons and said, "Assemble yourselves and I will tell you what will befall you in the end of the days." Right? He wants to tell them the future. "Gather yourselves and listen, O sons of Jacob, and listen to your father, to Israel your father." Right? One scene, assemble yourselves, gather yourselves, I'm going to tell you at the end of the days. Rabbi Yehoshua Shimon asks, why does Jacob have to say, assemble yourselves, right? He'asfu, and then say, hikabtzu, gather yourselves. Wouldn't it just be enough to say, assemble yourselves or gather yourselves once? What's going on here? He connects this to a piece of information, a vital piece of information that Rashi gives us. Rashi teaches us that Jacob wanted to tell his sons what was going to happen in the end of the days, right? But then he couldn't. It sort of disappeared from Jacob. He literally couldn't tell them the future. According to Rabbi Yehoshua Shimon, it's not on Jacob's fault that he couldn't tell them the future. It's that Jacob realized that there was a problem with his sons. They weren't united. According to Rabbi Yehoshua Shimon's reading, there are in fact two scenes that are occurring here. The first scene is the first verse. Jacob calls his children and says, "Assemble yourselves and I will tell you what will befall you in the end of the days." Assemble yourselves, la'asof, asifa, come together as one heart. But they don't come. Jacob realizes there is pirud levavot, that there's battles and feuds between the brothers. They actually didn't come. And then he realizes he can't tell them the future. Some time goes by, and then the second verse. Gather yourselves and listen. This time, by using the word gather yourselves, hikabtzu. The word hikabtzu is very similar to a phrase we all know, kibbutz galuyot. Right, when all Israelites are going to come and be one in the land of Israel in the time to come, the reason he says hikabtzu after some time is he says, you guys have pirud levavot, you guys aren't together, you need to be united, unite yourselves, come to me, and then I will tell you what's going to happen. And this perhaps explains why the following verses are not really Jacob's blessings, but telling each one of the brothers a certain character trait that they need to work on. It's his way of saying, you're not together right now. If each of you work on yourselves, you will then be united and then be able to understand what is going to happen and what your roles are to achieve the end of the days. Thoughts from the wonderful Rabbi Yehoshua Shimon Ovadia of Sefrou, Morocco. Shabbat Shalom.